You're welcome to the news update coming to you on the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN. I am Chukwuemeka Anyokwa, and here are some of the stories we have for you at this moment. President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the Ozublo church attack in Anambra State by a yet-to-be-identified gunmen, describing the incident as an appalling crime against humanity and unspeakable sacrilege. The president expressed his grief in a statement issued by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, in Abuja on Sunday. President Buhari said that there was no justification whatsoever to target church worshippers and kill them in cold blood. He said this kind of atrocity plumbs the depth of depravity and extreme cruelty of the kind that words cannot adequately express. According to the president, there is no religion that does not lay constant emphasis on the sanctity of life, and that all Nigerians must rise up and speak with one voice against these remorseless evil men. End of quote. The president expressed his deepest sympathy with the families of the victims, the church leadership, and the government of Anambra State. He reassured all Nigerians of his administration's firm and uncompromising commitment to protect the lives and properties of all at all times. In the same vein, the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, CBCN, the Most Reverend Father Ignatius Kaigama, has condemned Sunday's killings at a Catholic church in Ozubolo, Anambra State, describing it as inhuman and barbaric. Kaigama, who is the Catholic Archbishop of Jos, made the condemnation in a statement on Tuesday in Jos. The police had confirmed 12 people dead and many injured after the attack by unknown gunmen on worshippers in an early morning mass at St. Philip's Catholic Church, Ozubolo, in Anambra State. Police had linked the attack to suspected drug trafficking feud between two members of the community living outside Nigeria. Kaigama says he is shocked and saddened over the attack, as the eastern part of the country is never known for such act. While condoling with the people of Anambra State and Roman Catholics in particular, Kaigama reiterated that Catholics in Nigeria will continue to be strong and committed Christians who are ready to show their commitment to Jesus through a life of witness. Kaigama called on government and security agencies to work assiduously and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to justice. Meanwhile, the Primate of all Nigeria, the Most Reverend Nicholas D. Oko, has condemned the recent attack, describing it as horrible and ungodly in the extreme. He wondered why the pursuant had to waste the lives of innocent worshippers instead of searching for their prime target. He calls on all Christians to pray for the families of the deceased, the Anambra State government, and the nation at large. The name Anglican is exclusive to Church of Nigeria and should not be shared or abused by any other group. This is according to the Primate of all Nigeria, the Most Reverend Nicholas D. Oko, who stated this at the just concluded annual Conference of Chancellors, Registrars and Legal Officers of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, which took place at the Basilica of Grace, Apo District, in the Diocese of Abuja. Oko reiterated that the Chancellors, Legal Officers and Registrars of the Church of Nigeria are the souls and life of legal administration in the dioceses and the Church in general, and stressed that the Church is feeling their impact. The Primate, who was represented at the occasion by the Bishop-designate of our Anglican Diocese, the Right Reverend Dr. Stephen Fagbemi, said that the Anglican Church Secretariat at the center has been mandated by calls of people showing dismay and disappointment at the rate at which the so-called Orthodox Anglican Church has been given publicity in the country. While appreciating the efforts of the legal team, Archbishop Oko appeals that all hands should be on deck to ensure that the name Anglican is not abused in Nigeria, stressing that the name is the exclusive right to the Church of Nigeria and should not be shared by any other group. The Primate, Metropolitan and the Archbishop of Nigeria, the Most Reverend Nicholas D. Oko, has called on the federal government to work hard in order to ensure that the country comes out of recession practically instead of technically, which has been the popular statement of the government, stressing that Nigerians want tangible change in their standard of living. The Primate, who said this while fielding questions from journalists on the state of the nation, believes that Nigeria will be a great country if her leaders are determined to deliver on the true dividends of governance. Reacting to the alleged speculation that Nigeria is the most religious country in the world, yet neck-deep in corruption, Archbishop Oko dismissed the claim as baseless, stressing that corruption is not exclusive to Nigerians alone. He, however, calls on Nigerians to possess the attributes of the God they profess and avoid pretentious religiosity.
I don't know the panel that made the judgment because there was no time we were told that such a judgment is going to take place. So as much as I can see, it's a hypothetical situation. But that is not to say that Nigerians are not religious. We are very religious. A good number of our people are pretenders, whether in Christianity, in Islam, in traditional religion. A good number of our people are pretenders. What we want them to do is to take a step further, to see that God is good, and those who worship him must be good. God is righteous, and those who worship him must be righteous. God is honest, those who worship him must be honest. So that the attributes of God, whom we worship, must be part and parcel of our life. We have been told that we have come out of the recession technically, but it is still not clear whether we are out of it practically. So we would like the government to work so that the people will come out of recession practically, not technically.
The Archbishop of Enugu Province and Bishop of Enugu Diocese, the Most Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Chukwuma, believes that allowing equity and justice to prevail in the disbursement of Nigeria's resources is the only solution to the many problems facing the country today. Archbishop Chukwuma, in an interview with our crew, advised the federal government to, as a matter of urgency and necessity, ensure that no part of the country is excluded in allocations, appointments, and development plans in order to guarantee the stability and peace of the country. To those calling for the division of the country, Archbishop Chukwuma urges them to instead agitate for equity and justice, emphasizing that secession is not the answer. He also calls on the state governments and people of the southeastern Nigeria to develop a viable economic base that will provide growth and development of the region.
But the government must allow equity and justice to prevail in the disbursement of the funds. What belongs to the East will be given to the East. There should be that sort of equitable share of what it belongs to us. And not only that too, we must make sure that the appointments must be balanced. Because if you look at the service chiefs now, no single Igbo man is there. And some other areas. So if they appoint people from the East into places and then allow the roads to be done, the second Niger bridge to be done, then there will be no agitation for all these things. It's because people are agitating because they are not getting what they should get from the federal government. And when these things are balanced, then agitation will disappear.
You're watching the news update coming to you on the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria. More stories when we return. Do join us again.
Ajayi Crowther University admission for the 2017-2018 academic session has commenced. Programs on offer include undergraduate, postgraduate, part-time, HND conversion, foundation and pre-degree in faculties of law, humanities, natural sciences, social sciences and management sciences. Our tuition is affordable and payable in 3 installments. Visit the university website at www.acu.edu.ng for online application, screening and admission letter. Given our state-of-the-art facilities, well-equipped library, decent learning environment, and distinguished lecturers, apply now by logging on to www.acu.edu.ng. For details, call 0814-592-0637 or 0810-440-8768. Ajayi Crowther University, raising godly intellectuals.
If you're just joining us, this is the news update coming to you on the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN. We encourage you to follow us on our social media platforms for our interesting programs and activities. Search and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel with the handle at ACNNTV. For inquiries and suggestions, you can write to acnntv@gmail.com or our WhatsApp number, all showing on your screen. You can also be part of our news crew by sending us stories and pictures of events happening in your local church or diocese, and we promise to use them. Now to the rest of the story. The Bishop of Owo Anglican Diocese, the Right Reverend James Oladunjoye, has challenged political leaders to live a servant leadership lifestyle of a shepherd because they were voted to serve the masses and not for the masses to serve them. Bishop Oladunjoye made this statement during the delivery of his charge to the second session of the 12th Synod of the Diocese of Owo, which was hosted at St. Paul's Anglican Church, Imoru, Ondo State. The bishop decried the ostentatious lifestyle of politicians in Nigeria, describing it as insensible, especially in the face of biting economic hardship bedeviling the country. Here is the report.
The problem with leadership in this country is that leaders get to positions to take care of themselves and forget the people they are leading. Especially if you look at the parliamentarians that we have now, they are there as if they made the office themselves. They have forgotten that they were elected by some people to go and represent them. So, my dear people of God, the shepherd cautions himself and refuses to eat the sheep. He does not kill to use the wool for his clothing.
The Right Reverend James Adedayo Oladunjoye called on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, to resign if he is not physically fit to continue as the leader of the country, adding that the President has been away from the country for too long. Speaking on the war against corruption, Bishop Oladunjoye condemned the Supreme Court for discharging and acquitting the Senate President Bukola Saraki on his alleged corruption cases without thorough examination.
Is it not proper for this country to know the condition of the health of our president? Because he is no more a private personality. He is public property. And if the president is not strong enough health-wise to continue as the leader of this country, it is better for him to resign so that another qualified individual can take up the office legitimately. Going abroad for several months within a 4-year term in office will not help this country.
In an interview after the service, Engineer Funsho Kukbolokun, who sponsored the synod and some youths to acquire vocational skills, called on other philanthropists to serve God and humanity with their resources.
No, the church should be concerned. The church should embark on development of our youth. And we should all embark on that. Because only when we do that, that we have peace, that we have youths that that have something to do. You don't want them to find engagement with armed robbers or kidnappers. You just have to develop them.
The 2017 Synod of the Anglican Diocese of Owo, which is the last to be presided over by Bishop Adedayo Oladunjoye before his retirement, attracted dignitaries who attended to honor the bishop for his services to God. The attendees included the former primate of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, the Most Reverend Peter Akinola, former Archbishop of Lagos Ecclesiastical Province and Bishop of Lagos Mainland Diocese, the Right Reverend Adebayo Akinde, former Governor of Osun State, Prince Oyinlola, traditional rulers and government functionaries.
Venerable Abiodun Olatunde has called on Christians to seek God in prayers and have faith in Him, no matter the situation and challenges confronting them. Venerable Abiodun made this statement while preaching at the Thanksgiving service of the second session of the 12th Synod of our Anglican Diocese at St. Paul's Anglican Church, Imoru, Ondo State.
Don't be afraid, for I'm with you. Do not be dismayed, for I'm your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my victorious right hand. The Lord is able. Number 2, we must be steadfast. We have a choice to be intimidated or to march on as directed by God through His servant. So, my dear brothers and sisters, be strong and steady, always enthusiastic about the Lord's work, for you know that no.
Over now to the south of Nigeria, where the Anglican Bishop of Evo Diocese, the Right Reverend Innocent Odu, has asserted that restructuring Nigeria is an inevitable reality whose best time is now. Bishop Odu was speaking at the second session of the third synod of the Diocese of Evo, which was held at St. Mark's Anglican Church, Elelenwo, Port Harcourt.
The summary of it is that we cannot run away from this stark reality that Nigeria has to be restructured. Whether it is the restructuring that gives more powers to states or a return to the regional arrangement of the past, or the restructuring that allows parts of the country that want to go and stand as independent nation, whatever that restructuring means, we must not run away from it. And our position as bishop, and I must say now, I'm carrying you along as a diocese, is that if we continue to pretend that all is well, we will keep bleeding profusely. And very soon, there might be nothing called Nigeria. Instead of our killing ourselves under the pretext of remaining one indivisible nation, some people say Nigeria's unity is non-negotiable. I want to see how it is negotiable. This thing is like marriage. You don't force two people to get married. We have been forced into a marriage that is hurting us. And every day we are dying and pretending to be one. Please, instead of our killing ourselves, and there will be no Nigeria left, let us come to a round table like this. Bring Nigeria as a cake. Bring one big knife and share the cake. Share the cake. Share the cake.
The Bishop of Evo Diocese, the Right Reverend Innocent Odu. The Vicar of St. Bartholomew Anglican Church, Surulere, Lagos, the Venerable Ben Nwaneku, has said that Nigerian Christians have themselves to blame if anybody plans to Islamize the nation. Addressing newsmen in Lagos ahead of the 60th anniversary of the church, the cleric argued that Christians deserve whatever is happening to them today with regards to a plot to Islamize the nation. According to him, Nigeria is a product of a deal between the Royal Niger Company and the colonial government in England stressing that the colonialist constitutions were presided over by Christians. Venerable Nwaneku, who was the former chaplain to the former primate of all Nigeria, Archbishop Abiodun Adetiloye, said that Christianity in Nigeria has simply refused to move at the pace that Islam is moving. Narrating his experience when he accompanied his principal to Lokoja, where the Union Jack, the demarcation between the southern and northern protectorates, was buried, he observed that there was no attempt by Christians to cross the confluence of Niger, stating that the Christian presence being felt today in the north was done by early Sudanese missionaries who founded the Acnn Church. He said that the early Roman Catholics, Methodists, Anglicans and Presbyterians at the time were too comfortable in the south, blaming them for whatever religious intimidation of the Muslims being experienced in the country today. He calls on Nigerian Christians to rise up to the challenge and do something for the survival of Christianity or stand the risk of extinction in the nearest future. And on the foreign scene, a new Anglican-run community shelter to provide a home for trafficked children is on course to open next year in Accra, Ghana. The Bishop of Accra, Dr. Daniel Mensah Toto, told journalists last week that the Hope community would resettle and educate trafficked children who had been rescued. The refuge, funded by the Diocese of Accra in partnership with the U.S. Embassy to Ghana, is part of a 5-year anti-trafficking program. Last week, some 35 priests took part in a training workshop to equip them to identify and speak out against child trafficking in their local areas. The workshop addressed a range of issues including human rights laws, Christian justice, and the realities of child trafficking. Bishop Daniel explained that the Diocese of Accra's partnership with the U.S. Embassy would help to combat child trafficking through increased awareness, the use of symbols and slogans, community mobilization, and outreach educational programs. The workshop, he said, would also encourage the authorities to address the causes of child trafficking in the country and intensify education among some parents who led their children into slavery. Ambassador Jackson of the United States Embassy to Ghana told the priests to use their influence to educate the public and challenge the normalization of the recruitment of children for forced labor. The Episcopal Diocese of South Carolina says it will challenge last week's decision by the state's Supreme Court awarding over 24 of its congregations to the National Episcopal Church. In a statement released on Tuesday, the Diocesan Standing Committee said they would seek a rehearing before the court while pursuing other legal remedies. Last week, the South Carolina Supreme Court, in a ruling, partly overturned and partly upheld an earlier district court ruling that had favored the Episcopal Diocese of South Carolina over the National Church. The majority reversed the February 3, 2015 lower court ruling on the trusteeship of the 29 out of 36 disputed parish properties. Our final ruling would affect more than $500 million in diocesan and parish properties. That's the much we can take on the news update which came to you on the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria. We thank you so very much for being a part of it. I am Chukwuemeka Anyokwa. Stay blessed.